Okay, we'll talk a little bit more about Something by the Beatles. Once more, I'm going to remind you the more familiar you are with the song, the better. So I'm sure you've heard the song and you're familiar with it to some degree, but having a few extra listens is often a good idea um, because the timing is a little syncopated and random in the melody. So if you kind of have a feel for how that goes by, that is definitely helpful. So first I'm going to look at that area that you were wondering about. Now I mentioned that I had actually tabbed that A7 wrong, and that may have been part of the problem coming off that F. Now actually, I tabbed that wrong, but when I listen to it, it's kind of interesting. It's not what the Beatles used, but it actually is something that could be used, and it would make it a little interesting, but we won't. We'll correct it to actually the way the Beatles did it. So I'm going to start at the beginning of line 3 just to kind of go through that. Sorry. That's attracts me like no other lover part. Attracts me like no other. Then we go to the F chord. Lover, 2, 3 to the A7. Now, I'll tell you how I finger that. I'm on the F major 7. Now going to the A7, I just bring the middle finger up, one string, and drop the ring finger down. So I'm going from the F to the A7. And then, as you know, I use my thumb on the D. So I find that pretty smooth. F, middle finger up, ring finger down to the 2nd fret. And then I drop the middle finger back down and drop the pinky. I use the pinky there on the 3rd fret of the D chord there. Now when we get into that next section, that's where it's kind of a good idea to be able to sing along with George there. And once again, you're in your house by yourself, nobody can hear you. Sing along a couple of times with the recording. It really helps to get the rhythm and the sound that you're looking for in your head. I'm not a good singer at all, but I know the benefits of doing it. So consider doing that to help ingrain the actual melody and what your goal is kind of a little bit deeper inside. So I'm going to take it from the beginning. I've decided on that 2nd measure, 2nd line. I kind of like the sound of the just the single strum. Now, if you're curious, I don't remember, I saw your sheet in the text, but when we're on that 2nd measure, that's a C major 7 chord, C, MA7. In the jazz books, they actually write it as C with a triangle, and that triangle indicates major 7. So if you ever see that, you'll know that's what they're talking about if you happen to see the triangle. But the chords they go from C, as you know, to C major 7. And then on line 3, C7 to F. Now when I do that strum there, on that 2nd chord in that 2nd measure of the 3rd line, that's an F major 7 to the A7 to the inverted inverted D. These are just filler chords. Then we have the A minor. Here, that's A minor major 7. Kind of a mouthful, but it's an A minor chord that has a major 7 in it. To an A minor 7. That could be called an A minor 6. Okay, and that's kind of where we left off. And then what we're going to do starting there on line 5 is just a little bass lead in. The open A to the 3rd fret, and that brings us back down to our F. Back to the beginning where the repeat sign is, 2nd line. Okay, so I'm going to play it from the beginning to the repeat and repeat. So from the beginning, 3, 4, 1. Repeating. We continue on. Goes to an A major chord. Okay? Now at that point we just have 2 measures of A major. There's no melody there, that's just an A major chord. So coming off, I'm going to take it from the beginning of that line with the little pickup. Okay, so it's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we get to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, line 7, and that's where the bridge starts. You're asking me, will my love grow? I don't know, I don't know. You stick around now, it may show. I don't know, I don't know. That part, okay? So you can kind of strum those 2 measures of that A chord any way you want. I'll give you some examples. You know, it could be like a 1, and then start the bridge. That's probably kind of what feels natural to me. I'll put that in context. I'll start at the beginning of that line. So I'm kind of doing a kind of a strong bass note strum. Like that. put that in there yet. When I tabbed it, I'll go ahead and put that particular strum pattern in before I send you a copy of it. So you can have that to refer to or use if you want. Then we actually get into the bridge. So we start on an A chord. You're asking on the word me, we go to A major 7. And then we get to the word grow. You're asking me, will my love grow? Then we're on that A6, open 4, 2, 2, and then back to A. I'll play that from the beginning of that line, starting at the bridge, 3, 4. You're asking me, will my love grow? I don't. Then we get to the D chord, G, I don't. Back to the A chord. Now they have this little chromatic fill that they put in between, and the way I'm playing that is I'm playing the A. Listen for it. If you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, go back and listen to that part of the song, and you'll kind of hear them do this. Like that. I'm going to play that several times in a row just to give you the sense of it. I'm just going to play that measure, which is the first ending, the one in the circle there. And the way that would sound is... So you want to make sure when you get to that 2 on the D string, that you're on your first finger, because you're going to go back to that A chord. To the D, G, and then the second ending, which is the very last line. You're back on a C chord, and they do another little run there, but this time it's not chromatic, it's more of a pentatonic run, kind of a combination pentatonic, regular major scale. Sorry. So I'm playing the C chord, lifting my first finger up, picking that open B, but then putting it back down. Okay? C note, and that takes us into the solo, which I said was that's what we're going to look at next. Next lesson, we're going to look at the solo, simply because it's fun to play, and it's very attainable. It's definitely in your skill set, I'm sure, to be able to play the solo, and it's just a fun thing to do if you're playing along with the recording, to actually play along with George there on that guitar solo. It's sort of an iconic solo, very famous solo for him that he created there. So I'm going to go back to the beginning and put it all together. So what we have is we have the intro, we have the first verse and the repeat, and then we repeat, but we keep on going to the A chord, and then we play the bridge. And we have the first ending where we have their chromatic run. We repeat back, play the bridge again, and then we skip the first ending and go to the second ending. Pretty standard fare. Okay, I'll play it pretty slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. second ending. And that's where the guitar solo would start. So let's talk about the bridge just a little bit. We got the start of it to the A major 7. So probably the hardest chord is getting that A6. And just remember, keep that first finger down. You know, you're on the A major 7 there. Keep that first finger down. Just slide that up and half bar it and bring the ring finger over. It's actually pretty smooth. So you're starting on the A, easy change to the A major 7, and then just sliding that first finger up, getting that half bar like we always talk about with that kind of bend. Slide that first finger and bring the ring finger over. And you got that A6 chord. Back to the A. To the D. Sliding that first finger. Again, listen to the song to get the timing on those little fills. You know, ba, 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 ba. It's very syncopated. It's the same rhythm for both of them in the first ending and the second ending. It's da 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 da. Okay, syncopated. But once again, by listening to the song, you can get a feel for what's going on there. Even once you get the hang of it, if you can't play along with the song at full speed, put it on 75% and give it a shot at 75. Or, you know, just play it at your own pace, whatever's comfortable for you. The nice thing with ballads is that, you know, they're very open to interpretation as far as the kind of tempo and phrasing that you want to use when you're playing a song like this. As long as you're conveying the song, that's the most important thing, that when you're playing it, people recognize you're playing something by the Beatles. They're not going to notice that you don't have the exact same rhythm as the recording, because frankly, it's just not necessary. So there you go on that. Hopefully by correcting the tab and talking a little bit about that section where we change from the F to the A7 to the D. I'd be curious to know if you are in fact using the same fingering as me there, if you're using the F with the thumb to the A7 to the D7 with the thumb. Because that, to me, is the smoothest way to do it. If you watch my hand go through those motions, it's you know, there's not a lot going on there. So I think that's something that you shouldn't really have any problem with going forward. Okie doke. Talk to you later.